How todo I keep my marriage together for the next 13 years. My kids are 5 and 7. My wife and I have been together for 15 years and married for 12 years. My dad left when I was 2 years old and I will not leave my kids ever. I'm still dealing with abandonment issue from him leaving. My mom didn't deal with her divorce in a healthy manner and was a workaholic to compensate. I do not want to mess up my kids. Also, my wife and I do not fight or have issues in front of the kids, so that is not currently an issue. But my wife and I have issues in the bedroom and with her being emotional available. At this point I'm used to it and don't need her to change. She's good with the kids. And I think she is a good mother. I feel like the marriage is mostly over and I'm needing some strategies to make it until my kids are out of the house. Have you tried couples therapy? Have you spoken to her about it yet? My parents stayed together for the kids. Trust me, your kids will know. In my situation, being raised by parents in an unhappy marriage was worse than when they finally split up. After the youngest kid turned 18. You can still be a parent without being with the children's mother. My dad left when I was 4. I also said I wouldn't leave my kids ever because of that. Now, I've been in a loveless, no intimacy marriage for the last 10 years. We've been together for 23 years and married for 18. My advice is, if you can, don't stay together just for the kids. It's not like you have to leave your kids if you get a divorce. The only way you can is to fight for your marriage. It's not too far gone to save. Maybe she wants to be pursued. Take her on a date and treat her like she is more than just a mother. Also buy her some flowers. You can't just throw the towel in on 12 years like that. Date her and romance her like you did when you first met her. Marriage is hard work, but it is so beautiful. As a mom myself, she sounds like she's lost herself and really needs you. Changing the household dynamic now while they're young could be for the best. Research shows it tends to be more disruptive to child development when big changes happen after the age of 7. If you stay in the marriage, you'll just model for your kids how to be in a disconnected and unhappy relationship. Do you want their future marriage to be like your current one? I got a divorce a few years ago and my kids are doing so much better. It's been said in a few comments, but divorce and leaving are not at all the same thing. You can still have a strong relationship with your kids as a co-parenting divorced person. I know divorce is somewhat stigmatized in society, but if being separated helps you thrive, it helps you both be better parents. I hope you can prioritize both your happiness and your kids. You divorce her now and learn to co-parent together moving forward. Staying together for the kids is a horrible idea and it doesn't help them in the long run. Your children shouldn't have to grow up in a home where their template for love is barely tolerating each other. And just FYI, they will always know something is wrong. Even if the issues aren't out in the open, they'll know. My husband and I were having a rough time last year. Too many details to type out, but I honestly felt unhappy and didn't want to be in an unhappy marriage. I started therapy with a therapist and thankfully we are better now. I learned to let go of things that were preventing us from being truly happy and changed the way we interact with each other. Do not give up on your marriage. Talk to your spouse. Try couples therapy. And if they're not ready for that, start therapy by yourself. Divorce is better for kids than unhealthy relationship. Divorce isn't abandonment. Please do not stay together for your children. My mother told me as a young girl that she went back to my father for my sake, which I found laughable. On many occasions I begged for the two of them to stay separated. Divorce sucks, but witnessing it is far from the worst thing that can happen to a child. Seeing parents happy and thriving is a better example to set than them seeing you unhappy in your marriage. And chances are at some point they'll bridge able to. You're their example. Would you want him to just settle in life with someone? Or be genuinely happy? Also, does your wife even know you feel this way? Give your relationship an opportunity to grow and get better. My kids were same age when we split. It's better for all of us now. Was difficult at the start, but the kids are way better than they would be if we forced a failed marriage. Divorce and still be there for the kids. No reason to suffer. The kids will notice. Think about what you are teaching your kids by staying in an unhappy, loveless marriage. You are teaching them that they don't deserve happiness or love. Stay together in a shitty marriage and your kids will notice them never want to get married. Why do you think so many millennials aren't getting married? Because their parents stayed together for the kids. I think you should ask about couples therapy. But if she refuses, then go by yourself for a while. Spend some time dwelling on why you want what you want. Think about areas of your life that feel neglected and what can you do to change that. Sexless couples aren't uncommon for all sorts of reasons: health, distance, sleep deprived, schedules that don't mesh, kids, etc. Sexless doesn't necessarily mean unhappy. You two just have to come to an agreement about what works for both of you and maybe just extend yourselves some grace while you're figuring things out. Please get advice from a therapist, not morons on Reddit, myself included. Have you just sat down and talked to your wife? Are you so used to just seeing her as a mother and not your wife? I would suggest couples therapy. Staying together for the kids is possibly the worst thing you could do. Even if you don't outwardly fight in front of them. Kids are smart. And they will know something is wrong. Do you really want them growing up thinking that's the kind of relationship they should have with their partners? Cold and distant. Please think through this carefully. The kids are still young and can adapt easily. And you are not your father. If you and your wife divorce amicably, you will be just as involved in your kids' lives as you are today. Couples therapy. That's your answer. Because no one here is qualified to answer your question. Especially without the intimate context it requires. If your partner is unwilling to try, that's another story. But I still don't think a stranger on Reddit should have a seat at the table for something this important. Well, just try different things with each other because that's just the only thing which can solve the marriage problem, and I can't see anything else at this point of time. Leaving your wife and leaving your kids are two different things. Getting divorced doesn't mean you're abandoning your kids. Can't believe you've been with her 15 years but you're so quick to say yeah. The marriage is pretty much over. I would hope someone I spent a few decades with would fight for me. Go to YouTube and search for Dr. Gottman, watch any of his videos. Buy one of his books and start doing the little things love maps. Small acts of kindness. This is decades of research on what makes couples happy, not just some advice from a random. Staying for the kids is rarely healthy for said kids.